How about Shemel Shah? Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. For unto you is paradise opened, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared, plenteousness is made ready, a city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you, weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end is shewed the treasure of immortality. Let my soul bless Yahweh, the great King. When Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stones, thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir. And all her streets shall say, Alleluia, and they shall praise him, saying, Blessed be Yahweh, which have extolled it forever.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women, okay? Not no strawberry hollows on this side. Ready to have children, man, you can vibe with, okay? Be around brothers. Be around the Lord himself. Okay, I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right, I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly. Okay, I'm ready to eat real food. Okay, I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kapadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations. Hopefully they got there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful, late, the believer, the listeners who may have came back, all right, to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. All right, and what I want to get into today, dealing with the dynasty, all right, of David, okay, and understanding that Yahweh Shah, is coming, to establish the throne of David, okay, and it's going to be forever, all right, and we have to understand what the throne of David means, okay, as there's, been confusion, the confusion is on the increase, all right, and we're going to take, the confusion, meant to deceive and use it for edification for the believers, so these are topics that the Spirit wants to come out, and these things are good to have a thorough understanding on, especially going into the times we're coming into, because we're getting ready to get uncomfortable. And as we're, on the straight gate, well, we have to have, all right, an expectation, beyond this current system. Our expectation, all right, should be beyond anything, okay, of this current world, okay, and understanding that, there's a special reward, all right, for Israelites and especially those of the elect in this time, okay. So I want to get this here. Start off in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, Proverbs 4 and 7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Okay, so wisdom is the principal things. Therefore, we get wisdom. Okay, as we come into this truth. All right, and we begin to, all right, grow in wisdom. You see the true wisdom of the scriptures, and as we grow in wisdom, all right, we're beginning to what get understanding. Okay, understanding of what we're a part of or why we're here. Because we learn more, in 6 months in the truth than we learned our whole life. Okay, and it's just a bunch of information and truth and facts, that we're being showered with. Okay, but then as we grow, okay, in this wisdom, we begin to understand, okay, what we're part of, the overall picture, okay, what the Most High is doing, okay, with His people. You see, and as we grow in understanding, there's no way that you can draw a conclusion that salvation, as we understand what salvation is, which the Lord has, made that, clear in these times, which I have a more clear picture of what salvation is, based on, all right, the edification that's been coming out. Okay. So as we understand what salvation is, and as we increase in understanding, there's no way that you could draw a conclusion that salvation is for everyone. All right. And if you're in that spirit, this ain't for you. Okay. This is not for you. Okay. If you are pondering that thought. Okay. Now let's go here. So this is an account. All right. When King David, was getting ready to go off the ball. The ball had handled him, roughly. Okay. King David was, asking for victuals for him and his men. They was out on the run from Saul. Okay. And Nabal, he speaks to him harshly, through a messenger. So King David, he's booted up. Okay. And then he's ready to go. All right. you know, he, he, it was going to be bad for Nabal. Okay. But the Lord causes, all right, Nabal's wife, Abigail, to intercede. Okay. And she's having this dialogue with King David. She says something that stands out. Okay. And we're going to, use this, okay, as a foundation for this lesson. Okay. 1 Samuel 25 and 23 says, when Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed low before him. She fell at his feet and said, I accept all blame in this matter, my Lord. Please listen to what I have to say. It said, I know Nabal is a wicked and ill-tempered man. Please don't pay, all right, any attention to him. He is a fool, just as his name suggests. But I never even saw the young man you sent. Now, my Lord, as surely as the Lord lives, all right, and you yourself live, since the Lord has kept you from murdering and taking vengeance into your own hands, let all your enemies and those who try to harm you be cursed as Nabal is. And here is a present that I, your servant, have brought to you and your young men. Please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. The Lord will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty. Okay, with a lasting dynasty. See, people seeing that the Lord, Israel seeing that the Lord was with David. There was a remnant, because the remnant was always, during the time of King David, the remnant was there. Okay, the elect of Israel. That's why we speak about the house of David. All right. You see, they represents the elect, the beloved of the Most High. Okay. But Abigail, she sees, because Jonathan, which he was heir to the throne of his father Saul, all right, the throne of Israel, okay, but he conceded that to David. He like, look, when you become king, and this is the heir, the rightful heir, speaking to, okay, a servant, one of his servants. Was him and King David, they was friends. Saul was a part of the elect, man. I mean, not Saul, Salaki, not Saul, Jonathan, Saul's son, okay, was a part of the elect. Okay, he's seen it in King David. You know, before he, when he was young David. You see? So the elect, all right, was able to see that the Lord was dealing with David like this the guy, this the man, this is our king. You see? So Abigail, she's interceding and stopping him from putting a stain on his name, because even though Nabal, all right, was a wicked nigga, okay, King David wouldn't have been in the right, to put him to death, and his he was going to destroy Nabal's lineage. King David said he was going to destroy anyone that pisses against the wall, which is all males, okay, of the house of Nabal, which he would have been off, okay. So she's reminding him at what's at stake. Please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. The Lord will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty, for you are fighting the Lord's battles, and you have not done wrong throughout your entire life. Okay? So in the spirit, all right, was on her to speak of what King David having a lasting dynasty. Okay, a lasting dynasty. So let's go here. All right, let's fast forward to 2 Samuel 7 and what is told to King David. All right, which is going to establish that the spirit was on Abigail to speak, okay, concerning, all right, the dynasty, all right, that the Lord will establish through King David. Okay. 2 Samuel 7 and 12, it says, for when you die and are buried with your ancestors, I will raise up one of your descendants, your own offspring, and will make his kingdom strong. And now we're speaking of who? Yahushua. Okay, Solomon, he forwarded the throne of his father, King David, but it was only, all right, temporal. This kingdom is going to be forever. Okay, and that's the kingdom that's getting ready to be established now, and it's for Israel only. Okay, we're being delivered to be joint heirs of this kingdom, this dynasty that the Lord is finna revive in the earth, man. And we're gonna go into what that dynasty means. Okay, he says he is the one who will build a house, a temple for my name, and I will secure, all right, his royal throne forever. Okay, and this is speaking of Yahushua. Solomon was a prelude, a foreshadow of Yahushua. Okay, but this is going to be fulfilled in the second coming of Yahushua, which is yet to come. Okay, it says, I will be his father and he will be my son. If he sins, I will correct and discipline him with the rod like any father would do, which he did during the time of the Romans. Yahushua came and was disciplined. Okay, because the high priest, all right, when he made atonement, he had to atone for his sins first and then for the people. Okay, so Yahushua had his sins on him from Adam, from King Solomon. Okay, and he had the sins of the rest of the nation. That's why it was such a torturous death, man, because he had everyone's sin on him, including his own in his past life. Okay, it said, but my favor would not be taken from him as I took it from Saul, because Saul was a 2/3. Okay, he was not of the elect. All right, whom I removed from your sight, your house, all right, and your kingdom will continue before me for all time. Okay, and when is this going to be established? Okay, now we're in this time now. When Yahushua return, this is going to be established. Okay, now, man. Okay, and your throne, all right, will be secure forever. Okay, and your throne will be secure forever. Okay, so the throne of David was promised, all right, for forever. You see? So how is that going to be fulfilled? You see? And this random salvation where everybody is just being saved? No. The Lord is reestablishing a throne. This is a promise made to King David. This is what's coming to the earth. This is the new government that's going to come to the earth, man. And it's for one family of people. King David throne represented one family of people, man. Okay, it says, so Nathan went back to David and told him everything the Lord had said in the vision. The king, all right, so this is a vision. Okay. It said, then King David went in and sat before the Lord and prayed, who am I, O sovereign Lord, and what is my family? All right, that ye have brought me this far. And now, all right, sovereign Lord, in addition to everything else, you speak of giving your servant a lasting dynasty. Okay, do you deal with everyone this way, O sovereign Lord? Okay, so David is extremely grateful, man. All right, but he's what's speaking of a lasting dynasty, which Abigail, the spirit was on her to speak about King David having what? A lasting dynasty. What more can I say to you? You know what your servant is really like, sovereign Lord. Because of your promise and according to your will, you have done all these great things and have made them known, all right, to your servant. How great are you, O servant Lord? There is none like you. We have never even heard of another power like you. And what other nation on earth is like your people, Israel? Okay, what other nation? So he's speaking of who? Israel. What other nation or power have you redeemed from slavery to be your own people? What other nation? That's a question. Okay, and he's from the redeem us from slavery now to what? To be his own people, man. Only one people. All right, he's going to do this for only one lineage under one bloodline. If you don't have the blood of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob within you, you do not qualify for salvation. You do not qualify for being a joint heir. All right, from being on no chariot singing the song of Moses, man. That's a family thing, man. Okay, this is a family. This is a family dynasty, man. Okay, that's a weak, westernized, all right, slave mentality, man. To try to incorporate other nations into this, man. You see, it says you made a great name for yourself when you redeemed your people from Egypt. You performed awesome miracles and drove other nations and gods, all right, that stood, okay, in their way. Okay, verse 24. You made Israel your very own people forever, and you, O Lord, became their power. You made Israel your very own people forever, and you, O Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, became their power, man. This is exclusive, man. What are these niggas talking about, man? The New Testament didn't open this up to other nations. It just brought back those Israelite foreigners who are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who were Hellenized. It brought them back to these promises, man. Okay, they was being taught that the dynasty of David. What you think Apostle Paul was over there teaching them? Okay, what you think he was just teaching them to turn the other cheek? Okay, and Negro spirituals, man. What you think the Apostle Paul was talking about, man? Apostle Paul, the teaching for hours, man. Sermons for hours, all night sometime, man. You see? What you think he was speaking on, man? Okay, verse 25, it says, and now, O Lord power, I am your servant. Do as you have promised concerning me and my family. Okay, and my family, confirm it as a promise, all right, that will last forever. Okay, concerning me and my family. Okay, this is a family thing, man. Okay, this is for the sons and daughters of Israel, man. What are these niggas speaking on, man? You should be offended that this nigga is saying this, man. You brothers, okay, you should be extremely offended that this man is saying this bullshit, man. Okay, let's go here, showing you some family thing, man. Because when David got the throne from Saul, all right, what did they do? 2 Samuel 5:1. Then all the tribes, because this is what the throne of David represents. All right, this is one of the things that it represents, man. Then all the tribes of Israel went to David in Hebron and told him, we are your own flesh and blood. Okay, we are your own flesh and blood. It's a family thing. Okay, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In the past, All right. When Saul was our king, you were the one who really led the forces of Israel. And the Lord told you, you will be the shepherd of my people, Israel. You will be Israel's leader. So there at Hebron, King David made a covenant before the Lord with all the elders of Israel, and they anointed him king of Israel. Okay? They anointed him king of Israel. All tribes were united under this throne, man. Okay, that's why the raising up of the throne of David. Okay, Amos 9. All right, and we just rolling in the spirit, man. You see, Amos 9. All right, and 11. Okay, it says, "In that day I will restore the fallen house." Okay, or kingdom. Look what it says on the footnote. Or kingdom. Okay, I will restore the fallen house, or kingdom, or rulership, or dynasty. Okay, Israelite empire. You see. It says, "In that day I will restore the fallen house of David. I will repair its damaged walls. From the ruins I will build it and restore its former glory." I will rebuild it and restore its former glory, man. So it's speaking about what? The 12 tribes united. Okay, and within his rulership, all right, what was the heathen? What was the case of the heathen, man? Okay, let's go here to Chronicles. All right, I believe the First Chronicles. I'd be second Chronicles. Let me see. All right. So what was King David doing, man? David's military victories. First Chronicles 18:1 says, "After this, David defeated and subdued the Philistines by conquering Goth and its surrounding towns. David also conquered the land of Moab, and the Moabs who were spared became David's subjects and paid him tribute money. David also destroyed the forces of Hadadezer, king of Zobah, as far as Hamath. All right, when Hadadezer marched out to strengthen his control along the Euphrates River. David captured 1,000 chariots, 7,000 charioteers, and 20,000 foot soldiers. He crippled all the chariot horses except enough for 100 chariots. When Armenians from Damascus arrived to help King Hadadezer, David killed 22,000 of them. Then he placed several army garrisons in Damascus, the Armenian capital, and the Armenians became David's subjects and paid him tribute money. So the Lord made David victorious wherever he went. David brought the shields of gold and Hadadezer's officers to Jerusalem, along with a large, amount of bronze from Hadadezer's town of Tabah and Kun. Later, Solomon melted the bronze and molded it into the great bronze basin called the sea. The pillars and the various bronze articles used at the temple. When King Tuah of Hamath heard David had destroyed the entire army of King Hadaezer Zobah, he sent his son Jerome to congratulate King David for his successful campaign. Hadaezer Toa had been enemies and were often at war. Jerome presented David with many gifts of gold, silver, and bronze. King David dedicated all the gifts of the Lord with the silver and gold he had taken from the other nations, from Edom, Moab, Ammon, Philistine, and Amalek. Abishai, son of Zeruiah, destroyed 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. He placed army garrisons, in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's subjects. In fact, the Lord made David victorious wherever he went. So David reigned over all Israel and did what was just, and right, for all his people. Okay, so the throne of David represents dominion over the heathens, man. Okay, they did not partake in their throne. They was all subjugated, to his authority. Okay, you see, the king of David also goes into what? Dominion over the heathen. Okay, when King David was set up, all right, the spirit was on him. Okay, let's go here, man. All right, no heathen is gonna be chilling, all right, with us. Okay, like they're joint heirs with us, man. No, man. All right, they're gonna be subjugated. In 1,000 years, it's gonna be rigorous captivity, a rigorous captivity for 1,000 years, man. Which Esau gonna get the worst, and every Edomite gonna be destroyed. Okay, because salvation goes into everlasting. Because if you saying Edomites can make it, you saying there's gonna be Edomites forever, man. Okay, tripping. All right, 2 Samuel 22:40 says, "You have armed me with strength for the battle. You have subdued my enemies under my feet," which means what? They're in complete subjection. So the throne of David goes into the enemies, all right, these heathens being under, all right, the feet, okay, of Israel, man. That's what the throne of David represents. You place my foot on their necks. I have destroyed all who hated me. They looked for help, but there was none to their rescue. Oh, wait a minute. That means there was no one to save them. There was no salvation for them. Just like now, there's no salvation for the heathen, man. Okay, they looked for help, but no one came to their rescue. They even cried to the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, but he refused to answer. All right, come on, man. Okay, the Lord not dealing with heathens, man. They don't have a savior. They don't have a power. Okay, they're subjects. All right, they was meant to be our subjects, man. Okay, that's a slave mentality, man, to try to include them within our rulership, man. That's a slave, defeated, watered down, effeminate. Okay, it says, I ground them as fine as the dust of the earth. I trample them in the gutter like dirt. Okay, so this is dominating the heathens, man, putting the heathens in subjection to the throne, all right, of righteousness, man. Okay, this the whole point. Okay, it says, you gave me victory over my accusers. You preserved me as the ruler over nations. As the ruler over nations, people I don't even know serve me. So this is what that dynasty is about. Their throne is about, man. Okay, all the heathens being subjugated to, all right, the nation of Israel. Okay, under Yahweh. Okay, under those first fruits. All right, which King David is going to be there. Okay, King David is going to be second in command under Yahweh. Okay, said foreign nations cringe before me. As soon as they hear of me, they submit. Okay, so the throne of David is about dominating these heathens, man. Okay, these heathens have been out of pocket, man. They follow Esau into a great rebellion, man. They need to be subdued, every last one of them, man. Okay, so man, the Lord is getting ready to give his men back their power to establish a righteous rulership, beginning with, all right, Yahweh Shai. Which Yahweh Shai has already been given what? All power in heaven and earth, man, to establish what? The throne of David. You see? It says, they all lose their courage and come trembling from their strongholds. The Lord lives, praise to my rock, my power, the rock of my salvation, the rock of my salvation, our salvation, the salvation of the beloved, be exalted, man. You see? Well, you know, so the throne of David represents the unity of Israel, all tribes united, and dominion over the heathen, man. Okay, so when the scriptures speak, let's go here, Isaiah 9. All right, Isaiah 9. Okay, and 6. Get this in the KJV. Isaiah 9:6 said, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. Okay? And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And this speaking of Yahweh Shai. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with justice, and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Okay? So this throne, okay, was promised to be established forever. The Lord said he's going to perform this, man. Okay? So he's delivering the people of this kingdom. Okay? The house of David, the dynasty of David, the elect. Okay? The throne of David always represented the elect. Okay? Their remnant, the beloved. Okay? Coming together in unity under Yahweh Bashim Shai and dominating the heathens, man. Okay? Ain't no heathens can't cop no plea. Okay? They're set to be dominated under this government. Okay? When Yahweh Shai was born, their narrative still was to play. This was never not to play. Okay, let's go here to Luke 1. All right. That's why even Yahweh Shai, what they call him, son of David, man, linking him to their dynasty. Okay, this is Luke. Okay, 1:31. This is him coming to Mary. Okay, this is before she lay with Joseph. It says, and behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son. All right, said thou shalt conceive and shalt call his name Yahweh Shai. He shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord power shall give unto him the throne of his father David. You see, the continuation of this throne. No heathen had part in their throne. The New Testament doesn't attach heathens to this throne. Okay, it doesn't make them a part of this dynasty. A dynasty is a family of rulers. Okay, it's a family. Okay, who rules the nations? A dynasty of Edomites today. Okay, come on, man. Let's go here, man. We're gonna go back to it. So let's read verse 33. Says, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Okay, so the birth of Yahweh Shai was, okay, the continuation of the throne of David, but it wasn't set for that time. Okay, now at Yahweh Shai's second return, this is when he's going to establish this dynasty in the earth, man. That's going to have no end. Okay, and you go into a dynasty. What is a dynasty, man? You see? Let's go here. Okay, what does it say? A dynasty. It says a line of hereditary rulers of a country. Okay, bloodline, lineage, house, family. Okay, that's who the salvation is for, man. The dynasty, okay, of the house of David, man. Okay, which were all of the same bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and what was told to, okay, Abraham, all right, and Jacob. Let's go here. It's the book of Genesis 17. Okay, and 5 said, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay, and kings shall come out of this, a dynasty. All right, this is a lineage, a line, a bloodline of rulers, man. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations, thy seed, for an everlasting covenant, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed, all right, after thee. Now let's go see what was told to Jacob. Okay, let's go here. Okay, Genesis 35:9. And the Most High appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Pandanorum and blessed him. And the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob. So you see, just as he changed Abram, because he was giving him a title now. Abram, he changed his title from Abram to Abraham, father of many nations. He went from exalted father to father of many nations. Okay, because his lineage will become as the sand of the sea, and it will be what? A nation of kings and priests. Okay, it says, thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. Okay, so he changed his name, Yasha'al, the prince of the power. He gave him a title. Okay, and the Most High said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay, this is a dynasty that's being promised, man. All right, and we seen the same dynasty reaffirmed through, all right, King David, and then reaffirmed through who? Yahweh Shai. We just went to the New Testament. Okay, this is what Yahweh Shai, all right, is continuing this promise of a dynasty to this lineage, man, to the sons of God. Okay, it says, in the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, I will give thee, and thy seed after thee will I give the land. It's a family thing, man. It's a bloodline thing, man. Okay, it's just a lineage thing. You see? So even when you go to the New Testament, this never changed. Okay, when you go to the book of Acts, let's get a few things in the book of Acts, man. First, let's get this in. Okay, it's the book of Acts, chapter 26, verse 4. It said this is when Paul, was appealing, all right, to King Agrippa. Okay, so this is Acts 26:4. It said, my manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among my own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most greatest sect of the religion, I lived the Pharisees, and now I am standing judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High to our fathers. We just went into those promises. The promise to Abraham, the promise to Isaac, the promise to David about a lasting dynasty, a forever dynasty to a lineage of people, okay, which is Israel, unto which promise our 12 tribes, you see, because they go to Apostle Paul to include all the heathen, but the Apostle Paul, he never broke away from the narrative of those promises of a dynasty to our forefathers, man. Okay, a rulership to our forefathers, instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come, for which hope's sake King Agrippa I am accused of the Jews, man, because they was pissed because he was going to what? Israelite foreigners with this promise, because the Israelite foreigners, they was looked at as a no people, man, because they had been, just a Greeked out for generations, man. Okay, so the circumcision thought there's no way that they can still be a part of this promise, man, that they could be, all right, inheritors of, all right, the dynasty of David. Okay, that was always promised to be reestablished in the earth. There's no way. Okay, and that's who he was bringing there too, man, not actual heathens, man. Okay, they're not a part of their bloodline. All right, and when Apostle Paul was teaching, okay, this is Acts 23. All right, it's like Acts chapter 28, verse 23. It says that when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him, and this is to Paul, all right, and to his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of the Most High, which was the dynasty of David in the earth, being established in the earth, man. You see, when you salvation for everybody, and you talking about this, this place in the sky where everybody's just floating around. No, talking about the kingdom in the earth. Okay, testified the kingdom of the Most High, persuading them concerning Yahweh Shai, both out of the law of Moses and out of the prophets, from morning till evening. Okay, from morning till evening. So he's going into what? The Old Testament. What do you think he's going? You don't think he's reading those precepts we were just going through? Okay. What do you think he was? And if he was teaching this, because he was teaching this amongst the circumcision, they came to inquire what he believed, what he was teaching, because they heard about it, but they didn't know the details. So this is what he's teaching to the Israelite foreigners. Okay, so if he's teaching the kingdom to an Israelite foreigner, that kingdom was clearly, okay, for one lineage of people, man. There's no getting around that, man. Okay, let's go here. Okay, man, I thought yeah, so like let's go here. Let's get this. I thought I had the Bible out. It's all good, Yeah, as long as you can hear, read along, as long as you can hear. You see, sometimes I be moving fast, jumping between these windows, but hey, as long as you can hear, read. Hey, it's good to read. Open your Bible and read it yourself, and you stick. Okay, so let's go here to the chat. Okay, so this is the I asked the chat, is the dynasty of King David promised to be established in the earth forever, according to Bible prophecy? Okay, was the dynasty of King David promised to be established in the earth forever, according to Bible prophecy? All right, and it says yes. According to the Hebrew Bible, the dynasty of King David is promised to endure forever. Okay, now could chat and throw madness into it, but it says what the Hebrew Bible Old Testament says. It says the core promise, all right, an eternal Davidic dynasty. Okay, the foundational passage is 2 Samuel 7, 12, and 16, where the Most High makes a covenant with David, all right, through the prophet Nathan. Okay, which we read that. It says, your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. Your throne shall be established forever. I said this usually called the Davidic covenant. Other passages affirming eternal, all right, Davidic line. All right, Psalms 89, 3 through 4. And brothers can post these precepts on the chat, if they're able. I know some brothers be at work or be driving, but if you're able, Psalms 89 verses 3 through 4. All right, post it on the chat, add to the edification. It says, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I will establish your descendants. I will establish your descendants forever. Okay, and that's a part of the salvation. Okay, Psalms 89 verses 35 through 37. The promise of David's throne as enduring as the sun, which is a celestial eternal being. Okay, it says the Most High swears that the descendant of David will sit on the throne. Psalms 132, okay, 11 and 12, and this is speaking of who? Yahweh Shai. Okay, Jeremiah 33 and 17, okay, which goes into David shall never lack a man to sit on the throne of the house of Israel. All right, and that's Yahweh Shai, man. It's going to fulfill that. Okay, it says, all right, what forever means in the Hebrew biblical context, it applies, all right, perpetuity, all right, but the fulfillment can be continuous or ultimate. Even after the monarchy collapsed, the prophets keep reaffirming that the Most High would restore a Davidic ruler, and that's the coming of Yahweh Shai, man. And we went through what that rulership means. Okay, we went through the the unity of the tribes. Okay, the unity of the tribes, first and foremost. All right. And then the dominion of the heathen. All right. Dominion over the heathen. Okay. Complete dominion over the heathen, man. All right. No heathen had a part in that. There was a dynasty. There was a lineage. Okay. There was a bloodline. There was a promise made to a bloodline, man. That's why Apostle Paul said, our 12 tribes, the promises made by our fathers to the 12 tribes, a bloodline. Apostle Paul speaking of a bloodline. So when he was speaking of the kingdom, you don't think he was speaking of that bloodline? Why is he teaching Israelite history to heathens if being the Israelite doesn't matter anymore? What's the need of them having a history about Israel if that don't matter? Okay, let's go here. Let's get a few more. You know, it's a lot we always can go into, but let's get a few more. All right, let's get this with Psalm, and then we'll jump to the New Testament to show you, man. Okay, what the Lord's getting ready to establish. So this Psalms 122. Get this in the NLT. All right, this is the book of Psalms 122 and 5. All right, it said, here stands the thrones where judgment is given. Okay, the thrones of the dynasty of David. The thrones of the dynasty of David, man. Okay, so let's go here, man. Let's go to, I love going into these topics, so it's always a lot, but there's always another day to teach, for the Abaratazah, there's always another day to teach. So, we're just this gonna be the tone, it's always good to go into the kingdom, man. This is our expectation. While we might be, cold, hungry, all right, but this needs to be on our mind, like, okay, we suffering for this dynasty that's going to be established, or whatever, you see, through the uncomfort. These are the things that should be at the forefront of our mind. This is their helmet of salvation. Okay, Revelation 5:9, it says, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, the understanding. You see, the understanding has been opened, See, that everyone doesn't understand the dynasty of David that's going to be established in the earth, what that means, okay, for a particular bloodline of people. Everybody doesn't have that understanding. Okay, so for thou was slain and has redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. So you go into this word, you go into this word, let's get this word here. Out of every kindred. Okay. Which is that Greek word, all right, phole.
Strong's G 5443. Phule.
All right, this is a tribe in the New Testaments, all persons descended from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. The dynasty, man, that bloodline. Okay. So these people that's being delivered out of different nations, kindreds, and tongues is speaking of that same bloodline, man. Okay, they've been scattered. They might even have the features of these other nations, but they go back to this bloodline. That's who's going to be saved. That's who's going to be gathered. Okay, that's the innumerable multitude. Okay, these are all Israelites. These are all right, of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, this is the dynasty that's being revived in the earth, man. Okay, so go back. Let's read this in verse. Okay, in verse 10 it says, "And had made us unto our power, all right, kings and priests, and we shall reign in the earth," man. So who is this promise to? Kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay, this promise to one lineage of people to be an everlasting dynasty, man. Okay, and here it is. Esau's trying to pull this off on the left-hand side under Satan to be rebellious forever. But now salvation opened up to this nigga, man. Come on, nigga. You know? But everybody got they role, they lot. 2/3 need prophets too. You know, so we're gonna continue to edify for the sincere, all right, the beloved, the house of Dawadah, the beloved of the Most High through his son Yahushua. You know, so Lord will, you know, you brothers and you sisters edify once again and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation to the whole elect. Shalom.